of his official government duties. Let's bring in former Manhattan prosecutor Jeremy Saland. Jeremy, good morning. Thanks for being with us. Let's start with Meadows' move here and his desire to get this case moved essentially from state to federal court. Can you walk us through what legal arguments his team's making to push forward on this?
Absolutely. And first, I think it's important for people to understand when something is removed from state to federal court, it still is the applicable state criminal code that controls, although it will be federal procedure, and prosecutors from the state, meaning DA Willis's team, will still be prosecuting the case. The argument that he is making is that I was working under the color of my position in the federal government as chief of staff when I was furthering my objectives and goals in that position. And then what he has to argue to the federal court is that he has a colorable claim or defense. It's not absolutely guaranteed. It's not proof beyond a reasonable doubt, but just that there's a nexus and connection. I think it's going to be very difficult. And as I say to clients routinely, and as I said as a prosecutor, law is not math. 2 + 2 does not always equal 4. And here he's going to have real problems because one of the biggest glaring issues he has is, how can I say, as chief of staff, I'm getting involved in a state's election process, and in one point, as we know, offering campaign money to expedite, to make the process move more efficiently and faster when it came to looking at signatures. He was really trying to make this work, and he was up there a long time, but I think ultimately for him, sadly for him, he fails.
Yeah, to be up there for several hours, is that pretty unusual for someone like Meadows to be put on the stand, especially during a pretrial motion?
It's definitely rare. And, I think if you brought in 10 prosecutors and 10 defense attorneys and asked them, would Mark Meadows testify? I'm willing to bet, just as we saw by many pundits, that it did not and would not happen. Pardon me, it would not happen. But there's also a reality here. If you lack the evidence to support your claim and cause, what are you going to do? You have to be that evidence. And Mark Meadows was his evidence. And in some cases, and very often, his own worst evidence. But you have to do, it's a desperate, attempt and effort to make something happen that otherwise there is no chance of happening, even if now it's very, very slim, in my opinion.
So let's look at the former president here. Trump's attorneys trying to have his case severed from the other co-defendants. You think this is going to be successful for them?
Yeah, I think that it's an important thing for him to do. You don't want to, as the president or anybody in a pyramid, we'll call it, when there is a conspiracy type of an allegation, when there's more people at the bottom. Here, President Trump is obviously the top. He needs to move this because otherwise what will happen is he's going to get fingers pointed at him from the bottom, who are going to be sitting in those chairs next to him saying, that guy and that guy's team, meaning the president and his attorneys, are the ones who told me to do these things. And why he also wants to sever this is he just wants to have his own trial. There's a lot that he may not directly have his hands on, that this evidence will come out, and he doesn't want to be brought in that either. It's much easier for him to be separate. And I would just add as well, he also wants to have this removed from state court into federal court like Meadows, because he wants to avoid the cameras, because there's deniability and I can get in front of my own camera later on to make my statements. But he wants to avoid the cameras in the courtroom to show the actual evidence, is one of the great reasons. And obviously, as you've heard before, he wants a greater, larger jury pool, not just Fulton County and its potential blue residents.
It's really important context. We really appreciate it on this holiday. Jeremy Saland, former Manhattan prosecutor, thanks for your time.